Well, we are here. Nobody else is. So, just for people who watch this later, for the Game of Thrones review, Season 8, Episode 1, and as of right now, I still don't know what the title of this fucking thing is. But this is a pretty damn good episode. So, we'll wait a few seconds to see if anybody gets here. Because I got nothing but time now. Script. That's Alright, well, while anybody's here, I might as well jump into the rear. So, full spoilers if you've not seen this episode. Ah! See, this is where I actually come to get excited. So, alright, so, again, spoilers if you have not seen this episode. Nobody died! I said, let's see what happens here. I mean, nobody, the kid got cut up, but it was off screen and whatever. So let's just start talking about it. Those new credits. Damn, I didn't even think about that. All the things that were going to come out of Season 6, or Season 8, Jesus Christ. I did not expect to see new credits. I don't know if anybody else did. I thought they were really cool. I also think if you look at them, right? If you look at them, there's some important shit in those credits. Especially like on the big old rings that are rotating around. If you look really close, you can see some symbols there. And I didn't get a chance to look at what they were because I was just kind of mesmerized by these new credits. I just wanted to make sure I took everything in because I don't know. I mean, just right away from the broken down wall to seeing like all the little ice take over, start to move and stuff. I just really dug it. And we got a lot more people in this than I thought we'd get. And just, again, this is what they needed. This sets the stage. This sets the table for everything. And yeah, so jumping right in, I mean, hey, everybody, put the comment sections wide open, so let me know what you guys are thinking. I thought it was fantastic. I did have one problem with it, and we'll get to that, but I just love the scene right here at the beginning. We just start where it goes full circle, where, like in Season 1, when Arya is checking out, everybody from King's Landing coming there. Now you've got this other kid, and she's watching, and how much has changed and all this, and now there's a new army coming in instead of Baratheon and Lannisters coming. It's Jon and Daenerys and everybody else that comes with it. So that's a really cool scene. But it was also sad because Arya's sitting there, she sees Jon walk by and he doesn't notice, and then you get to see the Hound walk by and she's like, oh shit. And then you get to see who was the last one. Gendry comes by too. So she's like getting a whole bunch of people that walk past her. It was really cool. And yeah, we were all right. I mean, this is where the dragons come and Sansa is being very cold to Dany. So yeah, I guess I thought the political stuff of Game of Thrones was kind of going to be over, but man, I really should have rethunk that because I didn't honestly think that the North, they were going to spend so much time on the Northmen being so fucking butthurt about everything. Like, this is life or death. This, you can deal with what happens later after everything has been resolved. Worry about who's in charge then, because it's not going to matter once the White Walkers and everybody comes and takes over. Like they've said, it's not going to matter who sits on the fucking Iron Throne if there's nobody there. If everybody's dead, it doesn't matter. And I know the North have a history, but it seems like more like they're country folk. Like, this is like a symbol for us out here in the Midwest that are just like these stubborn people that don't want to do anything outside of their purview. They just you can't lead them to water, that kind of thing. And I just feel like I don't like that part of this story because it just seems like, yeah, if you see a dragon, it's okay to scream and freak out because they've been dealing with wars and fighting for all this time, but this time it's literally life and death, okay? You will die. Everyone will die. So we're worried about Queen Daenerys because some people in the past did things. And I know that maybe in real life, things as a committee is how it goes. But on I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. And we don't have time for that. Like Bran says, like in the scene like coming up, you know, we don't have time for this shit. And so Sansa being cold, fine. Sansa's Sansa. You know, everybody that watches my channel knows I don't care for Sansa. Yeah, she learned some shit at King's Landing. She learned a lot at King's Landing, but that's pretty much her only thing that she knows is Cersei and King's Landing stuff. As long as her plot revolves around that, she always seems like really, really smart. So like when she calls out Tyrion later, like, hey, you really believe what your sister said? It's like, yeah. She calls him on that because she knows that stuff. And all of a sudden because she came up to the Vale with Littlefinger, she knows everything about the North now. Even like when they ask like, hey, where's Arya? And she's like, Arya's lurking somewhere. Like, it just, god damn it, you know? Sometimes I think that they're gonna change Sansa around and I'm gonna like her and I'm gonna be like, yay! You know, I really like Sansa. Maybe she'll have some heroic moment here, but she always pisses me off. But that's where we really get to, is this problems with the Northmen, where they're in the freaking, you know, the council chambers or whatever it is, and they just start in. And this is actually where when the little Lyanna Mormont stands up, and I'm like, dude, just sit down. We wanted the king in the north, and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, you know what? Let's just all pack up. Let's take the dragons out of here and let these North folk people just die. And I like, you know, Lyanna Mormont, but it's time to stop this petty squabbling that I just feel like it just is too forced. Well, somebody put like a link or something in here for episode 1 if you want to click on it. I wouldn't. I like, though, when Sansa and Tyrion are talking about their time together and that the wedding... the wedding had its moments, and they both kind of have to smile at that, realizing that they were both being tortured by Joffrey and all that stuff. So, I mean, I do like that dark sense of humor that they can have about it. It means a lot, you know, like, one of the things at the end of the episode, Benioff and Weiss are talking about is that, like, we have all the information. We know all this stuff that we know all this information the other characters don't know about each other. And so we don't sometimes realize how important some of these scenes are. So when Sansa and Tyrion are meeting again for the first time in forever, it's a big deal because the way things left, I mean, when she left with Littlefinger and left Tyrion there, you know, he had nobody to protect him. Nobody to prevent what happened to him. Now, how would it have been different if she had been there? I don't know, but it's like all these little choices, things that happen to both of them, make this meeting very important. But I also like that they don't have to sit there and just talk. Like, they know what they've been through. And that Sansa just calls Tyrion out on Cersei's bullshit right away. Like, again, if you put the King's Landing stuff in front of Sansa, she's always is all over that stuff. She understands all that stuff. And she's right. Tyrion, in my opinion, even since season 7, has been making poor decisions when it comes to stuff that has to do with his family. And here, him just flat out believing after him and Cersei have this heart-to-heart, and she pats her belly. Again, the manipulation that was going on in that scene, how he fell for it. Like, I bet you she couldn't even believe that he was falling for it. Because then when that realization comes over his face, I mean, I would have thought that realization would be something that he'd have been thinking about all the way up north. That's a long time to think about all the plans that are going on, and it never occurred to him that Cersei was seriously playing him. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if Sansa has to call it out, I don't know. I don't know about that. But when Arya and Jon got together, I almost fucking cried. I'm sitting here and I don't get emotional about, like teary-eyed about stuff. But them holding each other and talking and just sizing each other up, and she, he sees her sword, and he sees her sword, she sees his. They compare it, and it's just like they didn't miss a beat, and it's just wonderful and sad. When she tells him, "Don't forget that you're a Northman. Don't forget you're a Stark." And just the playfulness of it all, and like how she sides with Sansa, which is surprising. But I guess when she calls Sansa the smartest person she's ever seen. Oh yeah, dude, that I forgot. Like for a second there, it didn't hit me because it's been so long, and it just didn't occur to me. And he doesn't look like Bran from little old Bran. So like when Jaime sees him, it's like, oh shit. It was pretty good, Belinda. Thanks for commenting. Thanks, Battle Marcus, for commenting. But yeah, I seriously almost cried at that. But then we find out, yeah, Cersei and Euron, they've already got the Golden Company, like, coming back. And that's crazy. Like, and, think about it. The Iron Bank never backed, like, why wouldn't they back Daenerys? Why didn't they reach out to Daenerys? Do you know what I mean? They're not even thinking about White Walkers, or are they? I don't know. But why would the Iron Bank, like, back Cersei just because she paid them back? I don't know. Or maybe just because they didn't know how to reach Dany to offer support. Maybe that'll be a whole thing. Like, the bank will be like, well, all you got to do to stop all this is, say that you want the money, and we'll give it to you. And we'll just stop paying, stop giving Cersei help. If it was as simple as that. But, of course the bank has to side with the bad guy, right? I'm sorry that you hear that. Like, it is, Luis Valdez, thanks for commenting. I've come to accept that this is, like, we know that the books are going to be superior to this. It's amazing that we have this show. It's amazing that we get, John's World did come crashing down. But, like, again, it's all, like, so you're saying that it's more like a rom-com. I have come to accept that this is like a separate thing from the books, and we're getting kind of fan service for the sake of fan service, because I think they're trying not to spoil the books, and they're trying to give everybody a little bit of something. And it was like, yeah, in the middle of the Dragonflight thing, I thought, wow, this is a really like never-ending story type stuff, like flying around in Falcor and shit. Or when Harry Potter got on oh god, not the, what do you call it? Whatever the flying eagle thing is. Damn it. It was kind of whimsical and fantasy filled, and I don't know, I dug it, but John's world coming crashing down after he finds out about Daenerys and him. I don't know. I feel like if John never wanted to rule, he'd just be like, I don't really care. Let her have it. We don't need to tell anybody about this. Nicolaj, it felt like filler, huh? How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. That's a good way to put it. It did not feel like filler to me, but I'm sorry that you feel that way. Luke Rich, good episode if it was a typical TV show, but this is Game of Thrones. Come on, no twist, nothing unexpected, disappointing. I don't know. I think that there was a kind of interesting thing that happened there near the end, where I thought maybe Tormund and Beric were at the Night's Watch place. I didn't know they were at the Umbers, so we know now that they've already taken out. That's why the Umbers didn't show up. Okay? They're all fucking dead now. And that symbol on the wall that they made with everybody's body parts, come on, that's pretty. There's something else going on here. So I liked that part. That was unexpected. There were no deaths, but I mean, and I'm happy that there are no deaths because my contest continues. Everybody gets a whole new week to put in names for the contest of who you think is going to be at the top of this when it's done. Not necessarily on a throne, but who's top dog. You guys all get an extra week. For anybody that's new here, we are giving away 2 of these limited edition Oreo Game of Thrones for the channel. And one way of doing that contest is to put your favorite best moment of Game of Thrones in the comment section. That's for one of the Oreo boxes. The other one is for who do you think is going to be the top dog at the end of this show, if anyone. Picking no one is a valid response. So now that we have some people in here that maybe haven't heard about this contest, you go to my channel, you comment on any of the Game of Thrones videos, what you think your best favorite moment is, or who do you think is going to be top dog to win the limited edition Oreos. That contest for people to qualify for the one is going the whole way. The bracket one will go when we get the first death. And since we didn't get a death here, you guys all get an extra week. So that's one good thing. However, it was nice to see characters returning again. Look, Game of Thrones usually does this, right? I didn't think it would be like this, but that's what they do. They do setup, and this is where everybody is, and this is like setting things up. The Jamie Brand moment was probably my favorite moment. I hope we get more dialogue between characters and outcome. It seems lacking though. Does anybody else think that Cersei sending Bronn to kill Tyrion and Jamie is probably a bait and switch? I mean, it's really easy to think that Bronn wouldn't do anything to Tyrion and Jamie, but I mean, who knows? I mean, he could change sides really quickly without anybody watching, right? But would he really kill them for her? Would he for his castles and shit? I mean, could Bronn actually kill Jamie? Because I don't see him killing Tyrion. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I guess if I don't see it happening, I better prepare myself. So here I am preparing to see that. But that's what's put on the table, and I do think that... Oh, Jamie Brand moment, not Jamie Bronn. I'm sorry, Belinda. The Jamie Brand moment... Oh, God. Well, if you saw the trailer for next week, he's gonna answer for shit that... I didn't even think about it. I really didn't. There's so many moving parts that I forgot about the Brand-Jamie thing. I think what happens with Bran is going to be... what happens to Jamie is going to depend on Bran. I think Bran's going to be like, well... If he hadn't pushed me out that window, I wouldn't be where I am right now. They are using a lot too much fan service, and that's why I just, like, same thing with Walking Dead, man. You know, like, whenever they try to do something that they think we like and I don't, you know, that tries to circumvent our you know, expectations, you know, subvert our expectations, I should say. It doesn't always work out, and it doesn't always work out here. And we have like only 5 episodes left. That's what I was thinking about it when it comes to like big moments and things like that. But we did have big moments here. It's just a lot of little moments too. And I do think that, yeah, like this should have been a longer episode for the premiere. I honestly think that they all should be 2 hours long. That's just me. They took this long to make them. I thought we were going to get like 2 hours, like 6 2-hour movies, so that we'd have 2, 4, 6, like 12 hours of actual show. And instead we only get like 2 or 3 that are like 80 minutes long. And that's not that long either when you consider the credits and the recap and the thing they put at the end of the episodes. The significance of the end with Lannister is him looking over at Bran, because Bran, the last time he saw Bran, he had pushed him out a window in season 1, episode 1. So the fact that all these years later now he faces him, and you know, Jaime doesn't know that this guy knows, you know, like that he's facing the guy that killed him, tried to kill him. So it's gonna be insane. Thoughts on Jon killing Dany to create Lightbringer? Everybody's really pushing this whole Jon killing Dany thing. And I don't know, man. That's something like Stannis would do to me. And I don't think Jon's Stannis. Even if Davos is his hand, or, you know, his advisor, his close advisor, I don't think Jon would sacrifice somebody to make something like Lightbringer. Yeah, Marcus, this episode felt like a first episode from a season 2, but this episode was a preparation for what's going to come. Yeah, it's Dany killing Jon to create Lightbringer. I just don't think that's... I don't believe that Jon's gonna kill Dany. I think people are really trying to push that, and I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Well, we find out that Yara and Euron, are hanging out, and that the Golden Company gave them 2,000 freaking horses. That's a lot, but she wanted those elephants. She really did, and I'm really surprised that she ended up sleeping with him. But I guess he's the last eligible bachelor or whatever, and she's given up on Jaime. I don't know. That part just kind of, like, if you guys get mad at, like, fan service, that to me just didn't feel natural. What feels natural to me is her telling him to fuck off. Hey, alright, greetings from Brazil. Welcome. The winter has come. Welcome from all over the country. Let's see what else. Like, yeah, it's just weird seeing Cersei with that kind of guy. Everybody believes what Bran says. I like Bran, Ex Machina, plot trigger. The last part was the best part, Bran and Jaime. That is a twist to me, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's not a twist. It's a good way to end it, because it's like, ooh, shit. I bet you Jaime forgot. That look on his face, I think he fucking forgot. Or maybe he didn't even know he was alive. Now that I think about it, be seeing a ghost. Can I get enough? Would have loved to seen what Three-Eyed Raven had to say to Kingslayer. He may be toast next episode. Like I said, I think that what happens to Jaime is going to depend on Bran, and I don't think Bran's going to kill him. I think Bran's going to say something else, but I don't think he's going to kill him. Bran and the distracted girls, all they want to do is talk about dragons instead of banging Bran. And so this is when we get the crossbow and everything. Joffrey's crossbow. So that's important. The Three-Eyed Raven won't care, but the others will. Thanks, Gremio42. What else do we got here? Yeah, okay, so yeah, I thought that they were going to take a while for the Theon and Yara rescue thing. No, we get that all over with, like, right now. Like, they just jump right to the end of the Greyjoy story. Like, Theon comes in, gets headbutted, and then decides they're going back to the Iron Islands to wait and see what happens at Winterfell, just in case Dany needs a place to go after Winterfell, which is smart. I did not expect Theon to say that he was going to go to Winterfell to fight. I think it's good. I think it's him just really throwing in with his, the people that are really his family. He knows that Yara's his sister, he loves her, and she should be queen, but he knows where he needs to be. And if he's going to die, he needs to die with his real family. And that's pretty fitting. And that's where he'll probably die. I thought he would die killing Euron. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen and where this is all going to end up. So, if some people are disappointed, I understand that. I understand. They still shoved a lot in here. What is dead may never die. But then when they say that, she's talking about the White Walkers, and she goes, kill the bastards anyway. I really dug that quite a bit. But yeah, Theon going to Winterfell's crazy. When they talk about Daenerys needing to get is going the Mad Queen to kill the Mad Queen. No, he doesn't have the balls. He'd like get up to her with fire and like drop it. But I like how everybody's kind of watching. The old men are watching Dany and Jon hang out, except Tyrion saying how he's not old. And then we get the dragons flying around. And I had a smile on my face for the first part of it. It is what it is. Like, there's a huge amount of this audience that's wanted to see people riding on fucking dragons. So now they got it. Dany and Jon, they're shipping it, They gotta get people's asses in the seats to watch this show, and so they just gave all those people a reason to come back next week. We're just putting a couple of people on dragons for a minute. So that's fine. It's a fantasy show. We have to have fantasy sometimes in it. You think Jaime is going to survive? I kind of hope he does. You also have Daenerys that will be pissed at Jaime, so she may torch them. Dragon scene was awesome. Yeah, everybody's mad at everybody, and that's what they tried to say, at King's Landing when they were putting together all this stuff. So we all hate each other. We've all killed people that we liked, and all this stuff. And we've all hurt each other, but this is bigger than that right now. And honestly, every day you go to work, and there are people there that you don't like. I know this is smaller scale, but what I'm saying is, every day we're forced to deal with people we don't want to be around. Every day. And if you don't, you're lucky. But, the same thing can happen here. Like, these people can't, it's kind of forced drama a little bit sometimes, but they should be able, you don't get any drama without conflict. But I feel like they're always worrying about the wrong thing. The more personal thing. Instead of, like, the wolf at the door, they're worried about what's going on in the past. But the best part of that scene with the dragons is the theory about Tyrion being a Targaryen still plausible. I think that that sticks around because people want it to be. And then I'm sure there's plenty of fan fiction out there that say, that you can read about it, to varying degrees of perversion. I don't know. I've never read any fan fiction for this show or anything. I don't read fan fiction. I can come up with my own shit in my head. But I don't think he's a Targaryen. And at this point, come on. I mean, if they throw that in there, then you really can worry about this show. A lot of that trailer is from this first episode. I don't know. I think it's just a similar location. We're still at Winterfell. I think we're going to see the Battle of Winterfell next week. I think we're going to see a huge amount of stuff happen. And yeah, next week, somebody's dying. There's going to be a whole lot of red shirts getting killed next week, probably. If they build it up, Brienne should be there somewhere. That's a good question. They didn't have her in here at all, and she was listed in the credits. I don't know. She wouldn't have hung out at King's Landing, and maybe, I don't know if she's with the Lannister army. That wouldn't really make sense. I think they just kind of forgot about her in this episode. That's a really valid question, Louise. But getting back to the dragons flying around, come on. When he's kissing her, and he turns her around, and you see that look in his eyes, and there's Drogon standing there like, filling my whole television screen. I was intimidated for a second there when you realize that the dragon is like really eyeballing you. Like, I see you, I could kill you right now, there would be nothing you could do about it. That kind of whole like brother mentality almost, or paternal or maternal, or even kind of like a sexual challenger in the dragon, like, if you hurt her, I'll kill you kind of situation here. And I laughed out loud. I did. And I don't usually laugh out loud, but I thought that was pretty damn funny. The Hound and Arya, again, yeah, like all these little moments. Kind of like the end of last season, where everybody meets at King's Landing. Now everybody's reuniting again at Winterfell. We've got like North and South, like all connecting characters that haven't seen each other. And I do like this brief moment between the Hound and Arya a lot. Because we get, like, it's the same thing with her and Brienne, or him and Brienne, where they could have, like, started a fight or whatever. They kind of push each other's buttons, they see what they can get away with, and then, in the end, his calling her a cold bitch is really a compliment. And they just kind of go about their lives. And that's really it, It's two warriors meeting at the middle of at the end of a battle and saying, hey, I accept you as you are, you let me go this way, I'll go that way, maybe we'll see each other again, that kind of thing. Like old war heroes. And again, I just wrote down more North bullshit. Just North bullshit, North bullshit, North bullshit. She's not from the North, and you're blah, 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 and you're selling us out. And then John's right, titles don't matter. I would love to see the Hound save Arya again too. I think that, at this point we need good fan service. We need this show to go out like, on top. And I want to see this show have like a happy ending, but like they said, it's gonna be bittersweet or whatever. So some good, some bad, column A, column B. Like, I'm getting further and further away from thinking that everybody's gonna die. If it's bittersweet. If everybody died, it'd just be bitter, right? There'd be no sweet in there. And John's right. Titles don't matter. None of this shit matters. We can deal with that later. I'm glad they actually put that in the fucking script. That somebody said that out loud. And of course it's John, but somebody has to explain to these people, you all want to die? Fine. You know, like, go become part of the army of the dead right now. You can't deal with the fact that she's not from here, but she brought 2 armies to help us live. What's the big, you know, like, what's the more important thing here? You know, it really chaps my ass that the Northerners are still being like this. Sam finding out, okay, I thought they make a little bit more of a big deal about what he did for Jorah, in my opinion. But I do like that I forgot about the Tarleys. The Night King leaving a message with the Umber kid, and the Night King going to send messages. I don't know what that message means, Louise, but I don't remember if that's the same symbol from episode 1 when the very first Night Watchman found the body parts, and then they got removed when they went to check on them. I can't remember if that was the same symbol. And it also kind of reminds me of a wheel, and that whole thing of a wheel that they keep talking about on this show. Are they going to break the wheel? Maybe the White Walkers have their own wheel they're going to break. Or maybe that's their sigil. I don't know. That was a pretty freaking crazy scene, though, with the kids screaming like that. Half of me thought, you know, that they were going to pan back behind Tormund and Beric and show like a whole bunch of White Walkers just standing there. That would have been crazy. But then that'd be the end of Tormund and Beric, for sure. We're almost done with what I had to talk about. Yeah, I wanted to say forced political bullshit, but now that I'm seeing it, it's like, I guess I'm going to have to just accept it. That we're going to have everybody backstabbing each other about who should still be on the fucking throne. Again, let's worry about this later. Like, really, man. And I thought that maybe Sam shouldn't care about his dad, and he didn't. It was the reason he got upset was about his brother. So that at least does make sense. The simple it reminded me of the Targaryen sigil too, Gremio. I like Bran's early comment about the dragon and the dead, and Daenerys looks at him like, who's this kid? Yeah. Like, you know, everybody just kind of keeps, like Sam puts it, Sam knows whatever Sam knows. You know, or Bran knows whatever Bran knows. And I like that. They don't know how to explain it, but hey, nobody knows how to explain why dragons are back. So, you know. Anyway, yeah, Bran. I like what they gave Bran here. I mean, right at the beginning, he hasn't shown any kind of passion about anything. But at the beginning, he's like, "We don't have time for this." Okay, shit's going down right now, and we got to deal with it. And so I do like that. You know, he seems to have perked up a little bit, and he's kind of referring to himself as Bran almost. Maybe that's just because all the people around there know him as Bran, and it's just going to be easier to communicate with people as Bran instead of just saying, "Hello, I'm the three-eyed raven. Would you like to know what you have?" You know, like, would you like me to tell you what you have for breakfast? You know, like do little fucking psychic tricks and shit on people. I don't know, but I do feel bad for Sam, but I just don't know if I would compare it to the Mad King. I know people want to. They hear the story of somebody getting burned alive, and they go, "Oh, Targaryens," and then burning people. But, you know, part of me gets it. Part of me wants to say, Sam, come on. And when we got to the Umber's place, man, that was a tense scene. I'm glad to see that it was the rest of the Night's Watch, and that they're still around. And then Blue Eyes! I've always had blue eyes, man. You almost killed me. So that was pretty funny. And I wrote, Umbers are fucked. Holy shit, that kid's a trap. I thought at first he was going to be a trap, man. Like, all of a sudden they'll know where they are and where to go when they get to the kid and have to torch him. I also thought poor Tormund was going to get stabbed right there. They really did the over-the-shoulder in the, you know, kind of out of focus and then pan to focus and then but that did not happen. Gary Pilkington, welcome to the channel. One of the more interesting things we'll be seeing how Daenerys takes the news of Jon being the true heir to the throne. Jon mentioned Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they all take it. I think they're gonna all blow it out of proportion. Um, what else did you say here? Jan mentioned the word treason. Yeah, there's no concrete evidence. Brand's visions. Yeah. Brand's visions. Yeah, can you trust them? And treason. Yeah, he said treason. Like I think John would be more than happy to say, I don't want it. Let her have it. Why do we even have to tell her? You know what I mean? But that's not where it's gonna go. What's going on with Arya asking if that dagger could be made? I think she's wanting the dragon glass, right? Like something like the one that she has, but with dragon glass. Because she needs smaller stuff. She's like too small to handle big weapons, except for maybe a bow and arrow. She could definitely use a good bow and arrow with like dragon glass arrows. Ooh, shit. I want to see Arya killing White Walkers with arrows made out of dragon glass. That is definitely on my Game of Thrones bucket list. But how are they going to prove that Jon is Aegon? All the proof they got is the words of creepy crippled boy. Yeah, I mean, well, they might have had the diaries and stuff like that. And again, this is all stuff that they should be worrying about after the fight. Everybody's already making plans about what they're going to do after the war. And it's like, hey, how about we worry about that? I mean, wasn't that the point of going to King's Landing? Was to get ahead of this thing and worry and put all our other shit aside so that we can fight the real fight? And that's what they said at King's Landing, but as soon as we get back up fucking north, everybody gets butthurt about everything. They have a Maester's diary. Okay, yeah, see? Then I guess that would work, you know, but like, for Daenerys, it's going to be more, I think, along the lines of, I did all this for the crown I wanted. And like I said, the show's going to force it to be a conflict. I don't think it should be a conflict. But whatever. And the symbol on the wall, and then Jaime arriving at Winterfell and seeing Bran. Do I think Sansa will go against Jon because he's Targaryen? I think that if it comes out, it's gonna make Sansa, again, real simple conversation. Jon just goes, you can have the North. Jon doesn't care about titles. He just told her that. So if she wants to go against Jon, I don't think that there's really anything to go against. I think Jon will just step aside. Jon is a soldier. Jon is a fighter. He is not a politician. He is not a king type person. He's good at leading men, but thanks, Gary Pilkington. Great name. The Maester's diary only proves that Rhaegar and Lyanna had a secret wedding, not that they had a child, Aegon, with whom Ned Stark has raised as a bastard. Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of like people going, you can't prove this, you can't prove that. I don't know. Again, what's important? Why are they? I mean, if they're going to force us to care about this, then yeah, there's going to be all sorts of just, you can't prove this and blah blah blah. And like I said, if they wanted to, get rid of some of this, they just let Jon be Jon. Let Jon go fight and let Daenerys be the queen and let Sansa be queen of the king, warden of the North or whatever, Luke Rich, Ancestry.com. Yeah. Ancestry.com. But back then it'd be like two guys in a truck, but like two guys in a carriage, and they just go around like asking people like all their like lineage, and it takes them forever. They're like 80 years old by the time they get like back and have everybody's lineage recorded, so that you could check to see who you're related to. It wouldn't matter because you'll all be dead. The Westeros internet. Two guys in a carriage going around doing a census, basically. The proof is in the crypts. That could be something. Yeah. Ooh. Did anybody think to check the crypt of his mom and Ned's sister? That's a good point, Game of Thrones fanboy. That is a very good point. I like that a lot. I did not think about that. So with the trailer for next week showing that the Kingslayer is on trial, honestly, if they do show that shit's going down at Winterfell. So it's going to be a big Winterfell episode. I don't think, again, like I said, Jaime is probably going to be fine for the moment. They're going to want you to think he's going to die, but I think Bran is going to, in the end, say, you know, we need to stop worrying about what happened and what's going to happen. And Bran needed to become the Three-Eyed Raven. It's almost as if all this stuff had to happen. Again, going back to that whole wheel thing and how all of this seems preordained and everything had to happen to just a certain way for everything to be where it is. And I think Bran's gonna, if he had real answers, you know, it's always easy. I'm surprised they haven't burned him like a witch in the North. You know what I'm saying? The Northmen definitely feel like Puritans from like the, you know, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s. Burn him! Burn the witch! He sees visions. Let's throw him in the lake and see if he floats. That kind of thing. But anyway, I think that's about it. I mean, we got 20 people still in here in the chat and watching. So let me know, what do you guys want to, you know, what do you guys want to talk about? Because I've reached my limit. I thought it was great. I thought it could have been better, and the political bullshit really did annoy me because I just don't feel like that's the important stuff going on right now. I'm more of a Jon Snow type. Let's just fucking figure out everything. And speaking of which, if anybody's interested, I got my Game of Thrones shirt on. It says Defend the Wall. It's got Jon Snow here. It's got Ghost, who, hey, anybody else want to know where the hell Ghost is? After every episode, first timer Game of Thrones fanboy, yes, I will be doing this every time because right now YouTube took away my live streaming rights from my mobile device. So this is the only way I can live stream. And I wasn't going to be able to do this. I was just going to record a video on my phone that would be like 20-minute review. But I wanted to keep talking, wanted to get a community going. And so until I can get better equipment or we get 1,000 subscribers, I am stuck where we are. So all the people that are on here, if you like the content and you want to do this every week, this is where it's going to be. And I'd like as many subscribers because once I can get out of doing it like this, we can do so many more things. Let's see. The Night King is taking his time for the love scenes. That's a good one. I like that. Thank you, Louise. Luke, Rich, Nymeria and the pack coming into the fight soon. That would be tight. That would be really tight. I think and yeah, you know what? Wouldn't that be fan service? I mean, we don't need it. It doesn't have to be in there. But if you saw that happen, wouldn't you go, that's kick-ass? I mean, it's like when we see a Harry Potter book and, you know, they leave things in, they take things out. I mean, they usually give us the big things. And like I said, we've caught up to the book, so everything is fan service. All of it, every single thing. There's nothing to compare it to. This is all original. So if we want to call it fan service, we call it fan service. But I think it's fan service in the best possible way. Because in the end, I do think they're going to honor George by not putting as much into this as we think. Or at least I hope. I hope to God that this isn't all from the books. Gary Pelican 10, one thing I've seen, curious about, is the whole Lord of Light resurrections. I'm sure Beric said something about being brought back as they have a purpose. What if, after they win, Jon just collapses? That would be messed up, man. That would be messed up. That would be really messed up. Thanks, Designs Are Us, for promoting the channel by telling everyone to like and sub. That would be an awesome thing to think that everybody that came here subbed. A lot of people probably came here wanting to watch Game of Thrones. I've had to answer that plenty of times that this isn't a live stream. Like if I was going to air the episode, I'd just say Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1, free to watch. Like, I put review live stream in the title. I put pre-show live stream in the title, and people still thought that this was where you go to watch it. But there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people billions of people that watch YouTube, and so you're going to get a few people that think you're trying to watch it. Do you think Cersei's going to have redemption? No. Not even one, maybe one tiny thing. Maybe they'll maybe give her one little thing to make you go, oh. But I think that she's got one major thing, and I'm not talking about what she's got with the Golden Company and everything. I think she's gonna do one more fucked up thing before she goes out. Really something that's gonna really, really, really go. I can't wait for her to die. Not that we don't say that all the time anyway. Well, yeah, Game of Thrones fanboy, no, was looking for a recap. Yeah, some people are looking for that too. I just was getting a lot of people on here asking me, like, there was one guy who just straight up was like, "Are you gonna play the show or not?" It's like, no, man, it's all in the title. Well, thank you very much, Game of Thrones fanboy, for liking the channel. I really appreciate it. There's always something on the channel for people. I pump out a lot of content because I like a lot of stuff, and I try to make as many videos about different stuff all the time. Bringing it back to the Azor, a high subject, maybe Dany kills Jon for Lightbringer, seems like a large piece of the lore to skip out on. I could definitely see Jon sacrificing himself for something. I don't think Jon would ever sacrifice someone else for him something that he needed. I think the only way Jon would do that is if there was literally no other choice. Like, literally no other choice. Because he's just too much like Ned in that way. The honor part would never allow him. But Dany, on the other hand, I could definitely see Dany taking out Jon. Because she may not like to admit it, but she's got her own kind of Stannis, Baratheon, cold streak too, when it comes to certain things and the way that she wants to be seen and represented and respected. I think she has a line too. And we may see her as just the silver-haired, cute blonde that has the dragons and every once in a while kicks some ass. But we're starting to see, the very serious side of Daenerys. And, I don't know. The Azor Ahai subject, man, I almost feel like they should have never brought any of that stuff up. Because, again, it's so late in the day. Like, as far as the series goes. Like, they should have started talking more about this, like, in season 3. Because you know how long it takes for things to develop on this show. And so to just kind of throw that out there would be really kind of lame. It's something that you want to be kind of amped for. Maybe forgotten about for a little bit. But so that when it happens, you go, oh shit, that finally paid off. But I don't feel like it's even earned a payoff. Battle Marcus 8 says, Cersei is going to do something so crazy that Jaime's going to be forced to kill her. I can definitely get behind that one. I think that that one thing that I'm talking about, I don't know what it is. I'm telling you though, gangster Cersei is going to do one more thing, and that you could be very right. I think that Jaime could be the death of her, but I think it'll also be the death of him. Nani so lovely. Thank you for joining the chat with a bunch of hearts. I appreciate it. Let me know if you want to talk about anything. We've still got a decent amount of people in here, so again, more to talk about. Let's see. I wish that we had a little bit more Tyrion in this, because he just kind of bounced around with Sansa for a second. Kingslayer equals Queenslayer. Can you imagine if, like, Jaime just got up and, like, sliced Daenerys' head up? Well, he'd never get that far with one hand. I don't like making jokes about that for the poor guy, but I don't know. I am curious though to how many people are getting out of next episode. Cersei. Yeah. Well, take them both out, right? Bookends. I got a set. Brandon is going to give Jaime a reason to kill Cersei. Ooh, what if he knows that she's not really pregnant, right? He has seen everything. Everything that has happened. And he sees things that are going on now. So he could tell him, hey, guess what? That pregnancy ain't real, man. And other stuff. Like, maybe there's more about Cersei we don't know. More secrets. Who knows? That's why he was waiting for his old friend. Oh, yeah, I forgot I forgot about the old friend moment. I'm waiting for an old friend. Like, yeah, he knows. So yeah, that'd be really freaking sweet. You know what? See, this is why these are good, because we can bring up things that we forgot about, things that we didn't notice the first time, or things that I wrote down or planned on talking about. That's what I love about these. Jamie the Valiant car. Yeah, that's what Brandon told that to Samuel. I gotta move my controller for a second here because it's gonna turn off. So we've been talking for 50 minutes. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what Brandon. But I was trying to figure out who that was, and when I saw Jamie, and I look at Brandon, I forgot all of that. All that knowledge went right out my. Like, I completely forgot it. Because I was so busy in the moment trying to think of it, that then when what happened with Sam and John talking about how he's the Targaryen, which I really thought was going to be a little bit more like of a dramatic scene, but John was just kind of like, yep, that's treason. Gary Pilkington, Dany is not really trained in combat, so logic would dictate John will be the one to take out the Night King. I reckon they will get beat at Winterfell. Yeah. Regroup further south, and Jon will kill Night King. Well, remember, Yara said that she is getting back to the Iron Islands because if it goes bad at Winterfell, then Dany can go to the Iron Islands to hide out because the White Walkers wouldn't be able to get to them there. And since Theon's going to Winterfell, that's where I think Dany will go, is to the Iron Islands. Otherwise, why set that up? And I do think it's funny that like people might go, well, what's going to happen to Winterfell? It's like Winterfell and the North are fucked. Okay, that's just they're gone. It's gonna be like wiped out. Everybody's gonna be on the run south. I said it in one of my reviews. It's gonna be like the day after tomorrow movie, that terrible movie by Roland Emmerich, where they literally show the ice like going across the country. That's what's going to happen, man. Everybody's going to be hauling ass to Mexico, the proverbial Mexico, which they could, I mean, think about it. They could end up crossing the sea to where the Dothraki live. Can you imagine all of us going to the Dothraki land? Like the Dothraki seeing all these armies and dragons and people from the north, all of a sudden going all the way to like south to like Essos and shit. When Brandon said he wasn't Jon's brother, do you think it was figurative? Well, they're more like cousins, I think. Yeah, like Louise says here that yeah, they're cousins. Why does she need the Iron Islands when they have Dragonstone? Yeah, but Dragonstone's closer to King's Landing, and they just made that huge trip. But I mean, I think Dragonstone also would be something that Cersei might already try to retake in case they go back there. In case they try to go back. Jaime is Azor High and kills his love Cersei, then becomes the Night King Slayer. Okay. Yeah. Now we're just throwing things at the dartboard, like, or we're playing Mad Libs, like Game of Thrones Mad Libs. I didn't know it was a Game of Thrones game. Yeah, Telltale had a Game of Thrones game. It had one season. It had all the actors from the show were in it. It was really amazing. It broke your heart just like the show. In fact, this game kills so many people, and you actually change so many times who you're playing as because somebody else bites it, or you're getting a different perception or POV in this. That it's nuts, and they leave you on a cliffhanger, and we're never gonna see the sequel to this probably. And it was amazing. There were choices in here that I kept trying to fix, and sometimes there's just no fixing shit, man. Oh my gosh, but this game was insane. So many of your family can die in this. Like it's like the Starks, like they just got all taken out, and we're not gonna get a sequel. It's breaking my heart. But it is worth it. I think you can get it for cheap on all like game platforms, and I think you can get it on like disc too. And I think by this time it's probably really cheap. It's a lot of fun, and if you love Game of Thrones, definitely check this out. It does not disappoint. Especially when they do get voice actors like Peter Dinklage and Amelia Clark and Kit Harington and everybody, and Lena Headey and geez, like just about everyone. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're down to like if we're still talking here. I want to thank everybody. I think we're going to wrap it up. So if anybody has anything else to say, put it in the comments here before we go. But I do want to say, best players of the game aren't important anymore. Littlefinger's dead and the spider is not important anymore. I think Varys does have something else going on here. Because in season 7, when Melisandre tells him, I'm leaving, I'm going to Volantis, but she's got to come back to die in this wretched country. And then she says, the same as you do. So I think some shit's going on with Varys. I think there's going to be some shit from Melisandre still. Varys may not be important in this episode, but I think he's got a big role to play. Some people say that he's going to kill Dany because she's going to do something that, because he works for the people. But again, like I said, anything can happen. Prepare yourself for it. I do wish Littlefinger was still in the game. But honestly, I understand why the show version had to get rid of it. I do. And I don't like it, but I respect it. And even Aiden Gill, who I can never say his name, he played Littlefinger, Baelish. He said in an interview that I was talking about earlier in this live stream that he always knew that either Sansa or Arya was going to kill him. And this was like 3 or 4 seasons ago. And that he had a Funko Pop that sits there and with Arya with her swords behind Littlefinger. And he says, I just kind of always felt like Arya was going to be the one to kill me. And so, I don't know. Self-fulfilling prophecy. He says he didn't know. And if the actor who played him is fine with it, then I guess I got to be fine with it. And for the show, it makes sense. But I do think we deserve better for Littlefinger in the book. I want to see him get real close. I'm serious, man. I want to see Littlefinger in the books get this close to the crown, man. He can't win. He can't win. If he wins, he can't win. But if he wins, I want him to get this close before it gets pulled out from under him. And he was almost kind of close. He wasn't even close going against Arya and Sansa at this point. He just wasn't even close. But they needed to remove him because he just doesn't fit in the story anymore, I think is what they were doing. I wish he did. I think if they just made different choices for his character, they could have still had him around. Do you think it was too easy how they defeat him? Defeat who? Which person? Oh. He doesn't have the balls to kill Dany, huh? That's the point. He literally doesn't have the balls to kill Dany. I agree. It seems like he made dumb mistakes for someone who was very smart. I think they were trying to show that he thought he had it all figured out. And I think he didn't understand Arya. So it makes me believe that I don't think he ever saw Arya when she was at Harrenhal, hanging out with Tywin. So it's kind of like the smart guy gets beaten by, a couple of girls. And because of him, their father's dead. So, in a way, them taking him out was very fitting. Littlefinger, exactly. Oh yeah, it wasn't that, I think it was convenient for how they defeated him. It was a little, but again, book version of Baelish is not the same version. He's close. He's very close to the book version. And like I said, I hope that we're not going to get the same thing as we get on the show. We just can't. So I'm hoping that we get a version of what happens. But we're not going to find out until George gives us the books, right? So, and I'm telling you right now, those books are going to be huge. I shouldn't have to say that. We know that. But it's going to be, really big. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna outsell like everything that's ever been, except for maybe the Bible. Chaos is a ladder, man. Heck yeah, I want that on a fucking t-shirt. I love that. I love the whole. They always give him the greatest lines too, but the thing is like I think he got a little too cocky at the end there, and I think that he just didn't know who he was messing with. He just sees Arya as this little girl. He doesn't know what she's been through. He does not know what happened, and because he set this in motion, it's his fault that she is the way she is. If you think about it. Can we get a book version this decade? Yeah, we better get one. George is notoriously, it's gonna be ready when it's ready. This book series started out in the early '90s, late '80s. So, Game of Thrones fanboy says, I heard there's going to be a spinoff. I don't want a spinoff I want a continuation. I want either a continuation done with like different, characters or in a different part of the globe, or I want it to go take place so far in the past that we're not going to be talking about Robert's Rebellion, because I don't want to see Robert's Rebellion. We've heard enough about it. If we actually see it, it ruins the mystery of everything. And we see enough of the lies already. Do we really need to see them all just play out? It's like the Sons of Anarchy, Mayan show or whatever. Like, did we really need that? I don't know. That's a different subject. But we got a new one here. Cameron Bennett, welcome to the chat. Arya's spear that Gendry will make it Lightbringer. Jaime or Tyrion will die and become whites in the attack. Oh, shut up. And someone will kill him with the spear, as Gendry talked about Dragonglass being difficult. Hey, you know what, man? I gotta give it to you. That's a theory. That is a theory. Some of that I like. Some of that I like. Some of that I don't like. Some of that I hope to God doesn't happen. But I like where your head's at, because prepare for the worst. Because that'd be awful. I mean, it would be awful. If that's how it went down. But I do like the idea of Arya's spear becoming Lightbringer. That would be really cool. I don't want... Yeah, if Jaime or if Tyrion comes back as a white, if he dies and comes back as a white, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That's insane in the membrane, man. But anyway, okay, so if anybody doesn't have anything else, I think we are going to wrap it up here. I want to say again how much I appreciate everybody for showing up to this. It worked. People showed up, and it may be a little head in this box. If you're watching it on your phone, or on your tablet, I'm not huge, but I'm watching it I'm watching myself on the TV. It's big as hell. Well, not that big, but enough where I can see myself. So anyway, Tyrion is so dumb right now. He used to be a smart guy. He has been dumb on the show. I think that season 7 has seen the dumbest that we've ever seen Tyrion, to be honest with you. He still manages to say intelligent things, but I don't know what's going on with him. And him still kind of being squirrely around Jon and Dany makes me wonder how much he already knew. But yeah, let's put this to bed. I want to thank everybody again for showing up. Please like and subscribe so that we can get to 1,000 subscribers and we can stop doing it on my PlayStation. We can start having live streams back again on a different kind of device. I'm trying to get a laptop, but it's just I'm a 40-hour-a-week paycheck to paycheck kind of guy right now, taking care of a lot of things in my life. And so this is how we got to do it for right now, unfortunately. Thank you very much. Good night. Yeah. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate all the support. Good night, everybody. And yeah, awesome episode. And I hope to see some of you guys back here. I hope some of you subscribe, and I hope you like the content. I really, really appreciate everybody that's here. This is amazing. This is so much better than I even thought was possible. So I thank every single one of you, even those of you that just pop in and don't comment. If you just want to watch and hear people talk about it, that's great. And so we'll see you guys next week for episode 2, whatever it's called. And have a great night. This is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying peace out, everybody. Bye.